Greetings, comrades. This is Andre Aguidas Desjardins for a Guilds of Ravnica Cracker Pack first impression type thing. Alright, let's see what kind of stuff we got here. I want to take the guild gate out first. It's an Izzet guild gate. So in regards to all the guild gates, I think you should take them over just any C-level common. I think they're a C+. Like, I think your decks with 3 guild gates mana base is so much better than others. Even the Boros deck, who often want to play their 1-drops, they can probably sneak a guild gate into play without screwing up their curve too much. So yeah, I think the guild gates are really good, but you should take them over just any other interchangeable card in your deck. Alright, let's go through the rest of the pack. We have Maximize Velocity, 1 red sorcery. Target creature gets +1/+1, gains haste until end of turn, and it has Jumpstart. Jumpstart is you can discard a card and pay this card's mana cost to cast from your graveyard. If you do, exile it. Maximize Velocity is not a card I want to play in my Izzet deck. I actually like the Izzet deck. I think it can be either the best deck at the table or one of the worst, but this is not what I want. This is not the Jumpstart card I want into my Izzet deck. I had much more success with Maximize Altitude that just gives you evasion. This is like a D-. I really don't want to play it. Alright, next up, Healer's Hawk, one of the most important commons in the format. It's a 1 white for a 1/1 flying lifelink, and I say it's the most important because it is great to mentor onto. Because a 2/2 flying lifelink is a real card, like a real good card, and it's fine with the Celestia decks. It lets them convoke things out too. Much better in the Boros decks, but I'm not first picking this card. I want to be sure I'm in Boros and I have some mentor things that I can mentor onto this card before I take it. But once I have, like, 3 or 4 mentor creatures, this actually becomes like a C+ to me. But you should not first pick Healer's Hawk in any circumstance, and even if I'm in Boros and I open this pack 3, I'm not going to be happy taking this card. Next up is Dazzling Lights. 1 blue instant. It's your Hydroblast variant, or Hydro Surge, I think, variant. A target creature gets -3/-0 until end of turn, and it has Surveil 2. Surveil is the Scry, but for the graveyard. Honestly, the Surveil 2 almost makes this a real card. Normally, I'm not happy on playing these cards because it's hard to get a card worth of value out of them. It's almost always impossible to beat up a card when you play this, but the Surveil 2 makes this really close. Again, this is a D. I really don't want to be playing this in my deck, but especially there are way better Surveil cards you can have. Next up, we have Crushing Canopy. It is 1 green, 2 colorless for an instant with a choose one, destroy target creature with flying, or destroy target enchantment. It's a reprint from Exelon. I think you can often play one of these in your main deck. There are quite a few flyers kicking around. The Healer's Hawk, the Boros Sky Knight. There's the 3/4 Surveil flyer. I forget its name right now. But there are good flyers to kill. There are some okay enchantments to kill too, but if you have to main one of these, it's not the worst, and it's probably a C main deck and then a B sideboard card. If you see 2 or 3 flyers or a really good enchantment, you're going to be so happy to have this. But I think you can main this and not feel the worst about it, but not a premium card, not something I'm looking to first pick. Speaking of something I'm not looking to first pick, it's Barrier of Bones. It's an 0/3 defender, and when it enters the battlefield, Surveil 1. This is not a card for me. I do not want 0 power defenders. The difference between a 1/3 and an 0/3 is astronomical in this format. Even though I'd rather a 1/2 defender than this, because that can trade for the 3/1 mentor card, which is a real card you need to get rid of. There's a really bad sub-defenders theme, like a defender sub-theme in here that you don't want. This is like a D-. I don't want to see this card in my deck. I'm very unhappy if this card is in my deck. Alright, Next up is Simulan Woodshaper. It is 1 green, 1 white, 2 colorless for an elf druid. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or enchantment card from among them and put them in your hand, and put the rest at the bottom in a random order. So it's basically a 2-1 draw card. In Celestia, it's going to be really hard not to hit a creature or enchantment. That's what most of your things are in the top 4. And I think a 2-1 draw card for 4 is fine. I'm glad it's in Celestia color, so no other, deck will snipe this. I think Celestia is the worst guild out of all the guilds, and this is fair. I'm glad it's a common for Celestia, but being that it's a 2-color common and a guild I don't particularly want to play, I'm not looking to first pick this. If you're in Celestia, this is maybe a C-. Goes up a bit the more luminous bonds you have, but really not looking to play Celestia. This is a fine card if you're in Celestia. And this isn't, when I say Celestia is the worst, it's not like Battle for Zendikar green bad. It's still playable. I had Garrett in the finals where he had a pretty good Celestia deck. But I think on an average in a pod of 8, there should be 1 Celestia player. I mean, if it's open for you, you should be taking it because it can do very powerful things. But I'll talk more about that in my overview of all. So, not looking to first pick this. If it's in Celestia, I'll take it as a C interchangeable pawn. Just to summarize, Hypothesizzle, besides being an excellent name, it's an excellent card. 3 colorless, a blue and a red. For an instant, draw 2 cards. And then you may discard a non-land card. When you do, it deals 4 damage to any target creature. So the way this works is you don't target a creature until the spell resolves or not, and then you draw 2 and you see what happens. This is good in the Tempo Izzet deck, which is what I like playing more than the Control Izzet deck. It's very good in the Control Izzet deck. Being a gold card makes it first pick and knock down a little bit to, I'd say, a C, but if I'm in Izzet and I don't have one of these yet, I would say it's a C+. It's an above average Izzet card, but I'm not looking to first pick this. This has been a very poor pack for commons. Alright, up next, Prey Upon. Sorcery, this is a reprint from many sets. 1 green mana, target creature control, fights target creature you don't control. This is a really... Prey Upon, I think, is in a really weird spot, this format, because there are lots of Death Touchers. I mean, there is an abnormal amount of Death Touchers in this format. But the thing with a Death Toucher is you're 2 for 1-ing yourself, which is not always great. And I just found when green gets its big dudes out, it doesn't necessarily need to kill something. They're just good at blocking or attacking themselves. So I'm normally lower on these type of effects than other people. So D, I mean, if it goes in, it's fine. There are some decks this will be a C+ or B- in, don't kid me, but I think it's a lot weaker than it has been in other sets. And shout out to the Electricity Sprite, who is not going to have a good day in the picture. Alright, next up, Galvanic Punch. It's a sorcery. Target creature control deals damage equal to its power to target player, and it has Jumpstart. It's a red and 3 colors. It's a sorcery. This does really well in the Tempo Izzet decks. It's a great way to finish people off. You can, maximize velocity, or it allows your Piston Fist Cyclops to attack while dealing 4 damage. Then it sits in the graveyard, a good way to finish people. It's also an excellent card to discard to early jump starts, because you probably don't need to cast this several times. If they have open mana, it's really risky to cast this because they just bounce your creature or something like that. And I say bounce because a lot of the kills are at sorcery speed here. But a bounce will make this very bad. It's a C in an Izzet deck. You'll be happy to play 1, maybe 2 in an Izzet deck. Izzet decks can have a lot of 4 mana sorceries that are interchangeable finishers. And this is one of them. The other one is the 1 damage to all creatures they can't block, which is way better in the Boros deck than the Izzet deck. Just the fact this has Jumpstart, so you can pitch it to a radical idea or chemist's insight and then get it back at the end makes it good. But it has to be the tempo is a deck and not the control is a deck. But if you're in tempo is a deck, you're happy to have this. Next up, Dimir Locket. It's 3 colorless and all the lockets are the same. It taps for a black or a blue because that's the Dimir colors, and then for 4 hybrid black blue you can sack it to draw 2 cards. This is one of the better lockets, the Dimir Locket. I would say the lockets in order go Dimir's the best, Golgari second best, Celestia is it, and then Boros. The Boros Locket really is the worst. The Boros don't want to do anything with that. You'll happily pick one up in your Dimir deck, but you don't need to waste a high pick on any of these lockets. And blue is interchangeable with a bunch of other things. Maybe Golgari Locket's the best locket because it's a unique effect for green-black. Not sure, but a C you'll probably happily run one in your Dimir deck. A lot of these commons have sucked. All right. Next up is Bolt. It's a sorcery. It deals damage to target creature equal to the number of instant sorcery cards you own in graveyard or in exile because of Jumpstart, and it has Jumpstart. I've not been very impressed with this card. Even in Is It with a Jumpstart, it often doesn't kill a creature early, which is often what you needed to do, or it is what you needed to do in both the control and tempo versions. Because control, you need to kill the creature, and tempo, you need to get the blocker out of the way. So this is like a D. Even in the Is It decks, that's a D. I'd probably just rather a Galvanic Blast, or not Galvanic Blast, Punchy Fist. This one, Galvanic Punch. And Electrical Current is, of course, way better. So D, not looking to play this card. Alright, next up, we have one Happy Fighty Boy. Affectionate Indrake. It's a 4/4 for a green and 5 colorless, and when it enters the battlefield, you may have it fight target creature you don't control. Now, a 4/4, it's probably winning. Even so, when I've, had my Doom Whisper or had it kill my, or I've killed my opponent Doom Whisper, it's a 6-mana removal spell. Oftentimes it just kills a 3/3 and is there to block. And a card like this really makes Prey Upon worse, because it has the built-in Prey Upon on it. That being said, 6 mana is a lot for this draft format. But it certainly can have its place. None of these cards have been impressive. Again, this is maybe a C+. And wow, yeah, alright. We have what, like 2 cards to make up for this? Alright, next up, and this card is not going to do it, Book Devourer, though I love the flavor. It's a 6 mana beast with trample. It's a 4/5, and when it deals combat damage to a player, you may discard all your cards in your hand. If you do draw that many cards, and I don't know what this thing is doing in the format. I don't know if it's supposed to be a quasi-finisher for Is It Control. It's too expensive for, the Is It Tempo deck and the Boros decks, even though that ability can be nice in both of them. Like, it's a C-. 6 drops are pretty interchangeable. This one's, okay, not great. The fact that black, has a 4/5 for 5, 4/5 for 5 common, and blue has a 2/5 for 4, makes this bad because it really doesn't get through anything and has no immediate effect. So, D. Alright. And the rare is Bounty Agent. And it's 1 white, 1 colorless for a human soldier. It has vigilance, and you can sacrifice to destroy a legendary permanent that's an artifact, creature, or enchantment. So no destroying legendary lands or planeswalkers. So in most instances, it's just a 2/2 vigilance, which is a playable card. It's a C, maybe C+ in the Celestia decks because it can help convoke. And then there are times where if they have a guild leader, it's going to be fantastic. But C+. And there's the token. So this has been a pack of very average cards with, I don't think, a clear winner. Let's pull out what I would consider taking. Wow. And the Guildgate. Yes, the Guildgate is a real consideration in this pack. Alright, so I'm not going to take Hypothesis because I don't want to start with a 2-mana card. I really don't want to take the Healer's Hawk until I know there's a Mentor card in here. So that leaves these three. So right now I'm going to take the 2/2 Vigilance, which is actually worse than the Celestia Split card because you can cast it worse. But I like being in white in this format, so I can maybe go to Boros. Like I said, I don't care for the green colors as much. And 6 mana things are replaceable, though that's a good guy. Yeah, this pack was really bad. Let me know what you would take out of this pack, because this pack has been very bad. Maybe I should just take the, is it Guildgate? I don't know, but then I feel I should take the Hypothesis, but I don't want to take the Hypothesis, so I don't know. This pack has been extremely poor. So let me know what you would take. Thank you for listening, comrades. This is Andre Aguidas Desjardins, and have a good day.